All right, welcome everybody. So glad that you're here with me tonight. So this is a pre-recorded video for those of you that are not aware of that. So if I'm not responding to comments, that would be why. So I am actually out of town right now, so I pre-recorded this video because I wanted to make sure that we had, I guess I can put my face on. I wanted to make sure that I had this up for you guys since this is going to be week 4 of the Painterly Pears Suite. So for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Julie Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome. So how does this work? Well, this is a free online class, and so I encourage you to use any items that you have at home and follow along with me. The reason that I always show the picture ahead of time on my Facebook page and also here on YouTube, I tell you guys what I'm going to be doing next week and what suite that I'm using of Stampin' Up! Products so that you can find something comparable that you have in your stash and work along with me. And so that is what the desire is. So I am just going to real quickly put up my contact information. That way if you guys have any questions, you want to reach out to me, you've got my email, my Pinterest, my YouTube channel, my blog, and then if you do decide that you would like to place an order, you can do that through juliebrown.stampinup.net. Now I will have some links for the specific suite that I'm using this month, and so that link you will be able to find in the description. So what are we using this month? So we are using the Painterly Pears Suite. There's the item number for that. And within the suite is this stamp set and die, and that is the Perfectly Pears bundle. So I'm going to show you a picture of the entire suite here. That is what the entire suite looks like, but you get the designer series paper, you get the stamp set, the dies, you get the low profile sparkle gems, and you get that beautiful Mossy, Meadow, and gold sparkly ribbon. So all of that comes together in one suite. So a lot of people ask me, like, what if I don't want to cut all the card pieces? What if I don't want to cut the card kit? What if I don't, what if I have the stamp set, but I don't have the paper, but I want the card kit? So I've got 2 ways you can do that. So if you place a $40 order with me anytime in July, I will send you the card kits for the 4 cards that I am doing the first 4 weeks of this month, along with PDF instructions. Now, if you do order this suite, or let's say you already have this suite, but you order another suite through me, you will get 8 card kits for the Painterly Pears Suite for July. So you will get those card kits. What's included in those card kits? Where you're going to get the card bases, you're going to get all the cardstock cut to the size that you need so that you can use your dies and cut them out. The designer series paper I will have cut down for you. That will also be included. Now if I do use other dies, then I will have those pieces cut for you before I send those kits to you. So like last week I used the stylish shapes dies, and so if you were to get that card kit, you would get those 2 circles that I did with those dies already cut for you. But everything else is made in such a way so that you can do the stamping and you can do the die cutting, so you learn what you're doing. Okay, but for those of you that don't have a desire to purchase, that just want to craft along with me, that's what tonight is for. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's get down here. So what do we need for tonight? Well, this is the stamp set and the dies that I'm using. So find something in your stash that's comparable. It doesn't have to be pears. It could be apples. It could be grapes. It could be flowers. It could be an animal. It could be anything that you have where you could, possibly have a die cut that you can, cut some things out. Or if not, you can fussy cut around the images. That works as well. All right, so let's move this out of the way so that we can get started on our card. And so these are the pieces that you need. And again, obviously cardstock. If you're using your own designer series paper, you're going to want to pick cardstock that is comparable to what the colors that you need. But I am using our card base is Petal Pink, and it is a 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. My designer series paper is 4 by 5 1/4. My inside white piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I also have a mat for the inside of Secret C that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then we're going to need this piece here, which is, looks like it's 2.5 by 4, a basic white piece that is 2.5 by 4, a basic white piece that is 2 by 3, a basic white piece that is 3 by 3.25, and a secret C piece that is looks like 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. So those are the pieces that you are going to need to complete the card tonight. So let's go ahead and get our stamping done. Oh, I forgot to grab a stamp set. Hold on. We are using the Right Words stamp set along with this. And now I got to find it because I had it in, I used it in my class. Oh, luckily it's right here. So for this one, and again, the reason I'm doing this tonight is because I want to show you guys that if you need a different sentiment, grab one of your other sentiment stamp sets and use that. That's what you're going to need to do. So this is the one I'm using along with this tonight. So let's get the stamping part done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the detailed leaf and my Mossy Meadow ink. And we are going to stamp this leaf, the detailed full ink. Full ink means I'm not stamping off. So we're going to ink this up. We're going to stamp it full ink right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the inside, and I keep getting rid of my scrap pieces of paper that I'm going to need so I can stamp off. All right, so there we go. Let's stick this on here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use Mossy Meadow, but this time I'm going to ink it up, and then I'm going to stamp off before I line this up. Then we're just going to line that up, and then see how much lighter that is. So I could use the same ink, but by stamping off that second time, it comes in as a lighter shade. All right, so let me clean those two stamps. I'm going to need this one right here in a hot second. But then I'm going to come in with Secret C, and we're going to do the Happy Birthday on this one. And I'm using the Happy Birthday from the Right Words stamp set. So I'm going to pull that out, and I am going to put that on a block. And probably this block is bigger than I needed, but hey, it was the one that when I opened the drawer, that was the one that was sitting there. I usually close my ink, but I'm leaving the Mossy Meadow open because I'm fixing to use it again. So again, we're going to tap, tap, tap very lightly. We're going to make sure my paper is straight. That's what I use this grid paper for. And then we are just going to come in and we're going to stamp the Happy Birthday. Just like so. So that one is done. Now let's clean this off. We're going to stamp off first to get as much ink off of it as possible before I clean it with my chamois. So the inside of the card is done. So now we're going to work on the front. So the front piece that we're going to be stamping on is actually this piece here. And so the first thing I'm going to do actually is go ahead and stamp the leaves. And I want to stamp some of these leaves, but I want them to be pretty light. So I'm going to like do this and then stamp it over there. Ink it up, stamp off, bring it in there, ink it up, stamp off, and then maybe like just bring this whole thing in upside down up there. Okay, so we wanted those on that right side of that paper. So let's clean this off. And then what we want to do is on this left side, we want to stamp one of our, the pear outline. And we're going to do that in Mossy Meadow ink. So we're going to come in and I'm going to stamp it. And I want this to be kind of angled to the left because I'm going to be adding another pear to the top of this. All right. Now I want this needs to have, you know, some yellow tint to it. So I think I'm gonna try to come in with, trying to decide what I want to do here. I think we'll try crushed curry. Let's see if we can make this pear kind of dark. So now I'm gonna come in with this solid one, and we're going to line it up, and like I've told you, that allows you to kind of wiggle it down into place. Okay, so there's that. So that was kind of light. Now I'm going to clean this, because now I'm going to come in over the top of that with Mossy Meadow, but I'm going to be stamping off. So I'm inking up with the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to stamp off, and then we're going to bring that in like so. Ooh, like that. Let me get that closer. Look how fun that one is. So that one looks super cool. All right, let's clean this up. Then what we're gonna do is on our little 2x3 piece of paper, or actually let me finish this off. Sorry, I was trying to clean this stuff. Let me make sure I've cleaned all my stamps. Let's get these cleaned. I'm gonna need that one in a second. Gonna need that one in a second. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, and I'm going to be stamping on top of these leaves. And so this time, the sentiment that I'm using is the one that says, "To someone worth celebrating every single day." So we're going to bring, it's right here, so we're going to grab that one, grab a block. I don't know why I keep grabbing all the long blocks today, but apparently that's the mood I'm in. So now we're going to ink this up, and we're just like, you guys remember what I said, tap, tap, tap. And I always look at my stamp to make sure it's completely covered. So now I'm going to make sure this is straight here. I'm going to stand up so that I can make sure I get this kind of centered and to the right. So we're going to just stamp that right over the top of those leaves, just like that. Voila. Okay, so I am now done with the Secret C ink, so I'm closing that and getting it out of the way. We're going to move this off to the left just so that I don't end up dropping a stamp on it that's inked up, which can happen. All right. And I know my chamois look a mess. I had a lady once make a comment that said, "You should wash your chamois." I wash them all the time. I even put them in my washing machine that I wash my clothes in. But it's still, because mine get used for classes and stuff, they get quite dirty. But they get stained. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to stamp the outline with crushed curry. So there's the crushed curry. And then I'm going to bring in Darling Duckling, and we're going to do the inside in Darling Duckling for this one, because I wanted a green one and a yellow one. So let me just make sure how dark that's going to be. Yep. Okay. I'm just laying it down, making sure that's the color I want. Okay, so there we go. And I didn't actually get a good, I should have gone more to the right, but I'm going to be cutting this out, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. So we can close that up, clean this out. Now, I'm going to need a couple of stems from the leaf, and so that's why I had that extra paper. And it's going to be kind of a waste, because I'm going to come in with the solid leaf, and I'm just going to stamp this there and stamp one over here. And then I'm going to end up fussy cutting those stems out, because I just want the stems. So let's go ahead and close that ink up, close this ink up, get it out of my way, and clean this. And then we're gonna go to the die cut station, and we're gonna die cut out that pear that we just stamped. This one here. So I'll meet you over at the die cutting station. So here we go. So I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna use our Perfectly Pear dies. And we are just gonna take this and we're gonna put this on here. And I usually use a little bit of, this is like a post-it note, but it's like a tape. Lisa Curcio told me about this a long time ago, and I've been using it ever since because I love it. But it's made by the Post-it Note company, but it's in a roll like tape is. All right, so let's take that off, and then let's meet you back over at the stamping station. Let's put that back where it goes, and we are back. Okay, so see how that didn't matter that I was kind of off over there? So now what I want to do is I want to find my paper snips, and I am going to come in and I am just going to kind of fussy cut, and I probably only needed one. I think I probably could have used this one let me just cut that out. I don't think I needed to do two. But, oh well, never hurts to have an extra, right? All right, so I'm going to trim that. And yeah, I think I'm just going to cut this in half. And then I can use it for both. All right, so now I'm going to come in with my liquid glue. And we're just going to put some glue on this, add it to the top of this little pear right here, like so. Do the same thing with this one, taking this little piece right here, and actually I think I want the bottom, the round part, to go onto the pear. Let's see. Yeah, just like that. So that's going to sit there. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to kind of start putting this together. I do need to run and cut some ribbon really quick. Luckily I have it pretty close because we are going to be using that for this card. Alrighty, so now we're ready to put this card together. And you know, once you do the stamping and the die cutting, these cards actually, you know, I try to make these cards where, you know, you do have to put a little effort in. You do get to do some die cutting, you get to do some stamping, but then the card goes together like pretty fast. You know what? I need 2 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm sorry if so you need 2 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So if I didn't tell you that, which I probably did not, you do need 2, which means I'm going to have to go grab some of that and we'll cut it down. But no worries, we're going to get the front done. So we're going to lay that down. Then we're going to come in with our Designer Series paper. That's going to be the next thing that we lay down. And I am using my Stampin' Seal Plus. So there's that. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this stamped piece and it's going to mat onto this piece. So let's get that done. Okay, hopefully hold on a second, I have an alarm going off on one of my phones, so give me a hot second. I'm gonna lay this down and then I'm gonna disappear. You guys could probably hear the song. Okay. Oh my goodness. The things that happen when you're trying to record a video. All right, so then what we're gonna do is this is gonna just lay right here, and it's just gonna be even with the Secret Sea mat. So we're gonna bring this in. Like so. And then we're gonna lay that down. That down. Whoops. Let me lift that up just a tad bit. Make sure it's straight. Then I'm gonna pop this one up. So I'm gonna bring in some dimensionals with my take your pick tool, and we're gonna add some dimensionals to the back of this little pear. Make sure we pop it up just to give it a fun little look. So I put more dimensionals on this. On my last video, I talked to you guys about this. This is very subjective to how many dimensionals you think you need. Some people, I've seen people that will put 2 on this. I use a little bit more than that, but probably not a lot. So this one I want kind of curved to the right because I want you to be able to see the one that was stamped back here. Then we're going to come in with our ribbon. I'm going to come in with my little bow maker. Again, anyone who places, the first time you place an order with me, I send you one of my bow makers. So we're going to use these 2 legs here. We're going to wrap this around here, stick it through up there, bring it down and around, bring this back, and then we're going to tie it. This has been a lifesaver for me. I've always had issues with tying bows. I think my fingers are just a little wide for bow tying. It doesn't seem to like to tie bows. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my mini glue dots, and I'm going to stick one right there and one right next to it. And then I'm going to take my bow. The reason I always put that many glue dots is it allows me to kind of finagle the legs of my bow to do what I want. If I were to just to put one glue dot, it doesn't always help me to get that bow, the legs of the bow to spread out. So then we're going to take our snips and we are going to trim that bow down. And again, you know, if I'm going too fast, you know, I did tell you guys this one was going to be pre-recorded and uploaded. So because it's pre-recorded, you should be able to pause me at any time during this. And then I've got to go cut one more 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 of the Secret Sea. So give me a hot minute while I find that. Alrighty, let's just cut one of those. I usually have some extras, but I've actually been using these quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 5 1/2 first. That way I have a card base ready to go. All I have to do is score it. And then I'm going to turn this and do 4 1/8. And turn it this way and do the 5 3/8. So that's 1, 2, 3. Right there. And then we've got the piece that we need. All right, and then our inside that we stamped is going to fit on this. And then it's going to go on the inside of the card, and then we're going to finish up with some of those low profile sparkle gems. And I'll show you that, and then we will be done with this card. Again, because this is going to be a pre-recorded video, you can pause me at any time and say, stop, wait, I need to catch up. And again, guys, if I'm going to put my information up at the end, and especially my email, guys, if you make cards along with me, and especially if you're using different designer series paper and different stamps, I would so love to see them. All right, so now I'm going to come in with our fun little sparkle, low profile sparkle gems. Again, all part of the suite when you purchase the suite. And as you can see, like last month I did the floral impressions suite, and you know, I easily made 8 cards for you, but then I also made 2 more for my card class, and I did the same thing with this. And so I've basically already designed 10 cards with this suite. All right, card is done. So there you go. And it's the double pears, and pretty simple to put together. So it says, to someone worth celebrating every single day, happy birthday. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoy this recording. Again, it is a recording, but please make sure that if you do have any questions, type them in, because chances are I will see it, even though it's a recorded video. Anytime someone puts things in the comments, I do see them. So make sure that you do that. Here is my contact information. And so if you want to place an order, I will have this suite's item numbers in the description. So if you want to do place an order with me, just click on that link and it'll take you to my online store. But if, like I said, if you've made some cards with other sets or other designer series paper, please email it to me right there at juliescreativestampin@gmail.com. All right, guys, so thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed that video. And then I am doing a special video this month, because there's 5 videos for the week. So I'm going to do one of the ones that I did in my card class. You're going to get to see next week. Oh, let me remind you of all of the ones we've made so far. And these are the ones that if you place a $40 order, you will get the card kits to be able to make all of these cards. Okay, so this was week 1. Week 2, week 3, and tonight week 4. And then there's going to be a special week 5 one that is not part of the card kit bundle, but I just wanted to show you, because I like that one, because we're using kind of some scrap pieces of paper, and I just want to show you kind of what to do with your scraps. But then remember, if you do order the suite this month, you're going to get these 4 card kits plus the PDFs for these, and then you're going to get 4 more PDFs for 4 more cards. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you those 4 cards, maybe. That way you guys will get to see what else you're going to get to, the PDFs for those cards. Now these are I'm not doing the videos for these. These were the 4 videos. And then we have this one right here. We have this fun one right here. We have this one, some work with some triangles here, and then this one here. So these 4, I'm going to move this up here. These 4 are the free PDFs that you're going to get, but you will also get the card kits to be able to make all of these as well. Plus I teach you how to make all these colored pears that I've made. So anyway, guys, remember the link's going to be in the description. So go there. If you get the suite, you're going to get you're going to get all 8 of these card kits, plus you're going to get the PDF instructions for all of these. And then next week I'm doing one that I did in my card class, and if you order the suite, you won't get that card kit, but you will get the PDF to make that one as well. So thank you so much for being here, and hope everybody has a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.